Hello everyone, I Shivam Agarwal, Assistant Professor of BCom Department. I welcome you all in the lecture series of Information System Management. In this series, we are going in the unit second of our subject, that is about the database concepts. So the first thing is coming into the mind why we are why we are learning database in this, because the name of the subject is Information System Management. So basically we have to manage the information, and we know that the information is stored only in the databases in that time, because in this time, because the database is mainly for storing the data and the information, and with the help of database we can retrieve our information and data very easily. So that's why we are using information databases in the information system management. Now the point coming is about the in the first lecture what is database. We have know about what is database. In the first lecture we have studied about what is database, and what are the properties of database, what is DBMS, why we are using, what are the components of database, and the most problem the four qualities of the database, that is atomicity. We are saying that these are the acid property, that is atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. These are the four qualities which are already maintained and which are always maintained in the database, so that there will be a no loss of information and the consistency is maintained. And we are in the second lecture we are seeing that the characteristics of a database, in which we are seeing that there will be a security means there will be a authorization and authentication. The both terms are clearly defined, and both terms are clearly maintained in the database management system. And there will be an integrity issue in the database management. There will be no entry and no integrity issue in the database. Means suppose that integrity means that if a user can change anything, can write anything, that then the user will be a authenticate user, it not will be a unauthenticate user. So that is the integrity maintained. And we can after that we have used the advantage and disadvantage of database. What are the advantage, what are the disadvantage? So we have studied about all the things which are basically relevant to the database introductions. Now the in this lecture we have discussed about the file system versus DBMS. So the term coming file system versus DBMS, why this is coming out? So basically this is that before DBMS we are storing all the things in a file system. So the file system is that system which are particularly file is that we are making a file for particular thing, for a particular field we are making a particular file. So that is the file system, and we are maintaining all the things in the file system. Now we are maintaining a DBMS, and DBMS is not like that for one type of field we are using one database, another type of field we are using another database. We are using a single database, and on the basis of that we can retrieve the information. So in this lecture we have discussed about what are the advantages of using file system. Is there any advantage of using file system, or is there any advantage of using DBMS? So these are the topics which we have studied about in this lecture. So continue with this lecture. So the first of all we have discussed about what is the file system, because we have already discussed about the database management system, what is database management system. So now we are going to discuss about what is the file system. So the file system is basically a way of arranging the files in a storage medium like hard disk. File system organizes the files and helps in retrieval of files when they are required. File system consists of different files which are grouped into directories, and these directories further contain other folders and files. File system perform basic operations like management, file naming, giving access rule, etc. So basically file system is just maintaining a record in a hard disk. And for maintaining a record, suppose that file system have so many, in a folder there are so many files. So for a folder we are in computer language, for folder we are saying that is a directory. So directory may be child directory, root directory, parent directory. So these are coming into the file system part. And examples of file system are NTFS, new technology file system, EXT, extended file system, which we are using now in nowadays. So these are the directory which I am talking about, folders. Suppose that these are the folders. So I can say that X, Y, Z and T's are the master file directory. Master file directory means these are the main file. In their file, there are sub folders are created, and in these folders, the files are written here. So in this, with the use of this figure, we can know that X, Y, Z and T, these are the four directory means these are the four folders which are the main field folders. And the X, they are two subdirectory, or I can say two, they are two child directory. And in the two child directory there will be a one file in this, and the two child directory. So basically whenever we retrieve a file from X directory, we have to go X into the X directory. After X directory there will be a two folders shown to us, that is known as a subdirectory. And before in these two folders, one file is saved. So to access that folder we have to go into the one folder, and to access another folder we have to go into the another directory. So these are the known as the file directory system: root directory, parent directory and child directory. So after that there is a file, and file is stored among with their extension. And extension will help us out to find the type of file, which type of file we are using in this. Now suppose to we are going to the in the second directory, that is the Y directory. And the Y directory there will be a child subdirectory, or I can say there will be a child directory, and in this child directory their file is stored. Coming to the Z, so Z is another two directories, two subdirectories, and in two subdirectories there will be two more files are there. And in T there will be a single directory, and in this single child directory, and a single file is there in the file system. So these are the way to storing a file in a system. We have to maintain a file in that manner, so that with the use of directory we can easily access that file. Suppose that if I want to access a image folder, I want to show my picture. So for that I will make a file, make a system, make a directory that is known as the pictures. And in the pictures I have shown that personal and professionals. So the pictures is the main directory, and coming to the part personal is the subdirectory, and professional is also another subdirectory. And in the personal there are so many files of my picture which are personal pictures, and they are personal professional, there are so many pictures which are professionals. So these are the types of file system management, how we can manage our files and things in a system. So coming to the database management system, DBMS is basically a software that manages a collection of related data. It is used for storing data and retrieving the data efficiently. When it is needed, it also provides the proper security measures for protecting data from unauthorized access. In database management system, the data can be fetched by SQL queries and relational algebra. It also provides the mechanism for data recovery and data backup. Examples of databases are Oracle, MySQL, MySQL Server. So these are the components we already discussed about these components. End user is there are two types of user. One is DBA, one is the database user. If there is a database user, it can retrieve the information with the help of database application, and database application send this information to the database management system, and database management system retrieve the information from the database and send it to the end user. And if the end user is a database administrator, then it will directly use the database management system, and with the help of database management system it can retrieve and send the information to the end user, that is known as the DBA. So these are the components of database. Now coming to the part of difference between file system and DBMS, why, which is better and which is not better. So file system is a software that manages and organize the files in a storage medium within a computer. So that is the file system. Coming to the DBMS part, DBMS is a software for managing the database. In the file system, redundant data can be present in a file system. It may be redundant data means they are suppose that if I am storing the names of a persons, so there are so many persons name which have a same name, so that is known as the redundant data. In DBMS, there is no redundant data. Redundant data means the data which is reflected twice, thrice in a same file. It doesn't provide backup and recovery of data if it is lost in the file system. It provides backup and recovery of data even if it is lost. Fourth, there is no efficient query processing in file system. Efficient query processing in the DBMS. There is a less data consistency in file system. There is a more data consistency because of the process of normalization. So there is a consistency in the DBMS. It is less complex as compared to DBMS. Why it is less complex? Because all the data will be shown into our eyes, whether which data I have to retrieve. But in DBMS, we have to retrieve the data with the help of query language, so that's why it is less complex. It is more complexity in handling as compared to the file system. File system provide less security in comparison to DBMS because there will be no authentication, authorization, and integrity constraint qualities in the file system. DBMS has more security mechanism as compared to the file system. It is less expensive than DBMS because there will be no need of anything in the file system, but has more comparatively higher cost than a file system. If one application fails, it does not affect other application in a system in the file system. In the database system, if the database fails, it affects all the application which depends on it. In the file system, data cannot be shared because it is distributed in different files. And in the database, in DBMS, data can be shared as it is stored in one place in the database. So these are the some advantages of file system and some disadvantages of file system. But basically, if we are seeing going to the conclusion, we will conclude that DBMS is more efficient to use in place of file system because in file system there will be a no redundancy of data can be can be done because the redundant data can be applied in a file system, but in DBMS it not be done. And there will be a no security in the DBMS, and there will be a no backup process in the file system, and there will be no security is also there, and data cannot be shared in the file system. But with the help of DBMS, we can share the information with the various user at the same time. So going to the all the things, we can conclude that data DBMS can be more accurate, can be used more efficiently in the place of file system because the accessing of information is very efficient in the DBMS. Because whenever we write any query for accessing that information, we can, in the file system we have to search everything, but in database we have not to search anything. With the help of query language, we can access any information which we want. So that's why we can say that file system is not as much as convenient as database management system. So that's why nowadays companies are moving to the database management system because it can be maintained in a very secure manner, and the backup are also there. If the data is lost, then we can retrieve our data with the help of backup issues. So all the things which we have done. So we can say that file system is good. File system is good, but database management system is better in terms of uses of in the organization. So that's all about today's lecture. So in this lecture, we have discussed about the file system and the database system. What are the advantages of file system and what are the disadvantages of file system over the database management system. So thank you for the day.